And hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Dave Bondy. Let me know if you can see me and you can hear me okay. Today's show is happening at 12:30 today on Sunday, and I wanted to bring this to you as soon as I can. And this is for everyone to watch. This is going to be free. I am on my Locals platform, and Locals is where I put my independent journalism. So this is free for everyone to watch. If you're watching and you would like to support my independent journalism, you can click a link. There should be a link somewhere where you can sign up as a paid supporter. It's only $5 a month. I quit my job in the mainstream media in order to do stories like this, to be able to spend the time and investigate stories that the mainstream media won't spend the time on. And this is really important. So if you're willing to help me and fund my independent journalism, click the link and sign up. But enough of that. Let's get to what we're talking about right here. And I was tagged on Facebook about a story that was just crazy. A child, I'm going to call it an attempted kidnapping. That's what I'm going to call it, even though that's not what the charges are. But a man grabbed a girl, tried taking her into a bathroom, and it's not the first time this has happened. Let me bring on the screen right here. Sydney, hello.
Hi.
Okay, so I don't know you, you don't know me, but apparently lots of people on your Facebook posts, they tagged me, and that's how I saw it. It's gotten over 1,000 shares, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, but I thought this was so important that everyone needs to know about this. Tell me, start from the beginning. What happened? This happened on Friday?
The 25th. So Friday.
Friday, okay. So yeah. You were just out shopping?
Yeah, we had a scheduled Walmart pickup for around 2:00. We ended up getting to town a little bit early. I told my kids that we could just run into the thrift store, and we're remodeling our house, and just to look for whatever little things, kill some time. I was there with my daughter, Aurora, who is 8, and my son, Jimmy, who is 6. We went into the store. It's very small. It's just like a very small building. There's not really a whole lot to it. My kids were looking at the toys, which are located right in front of the bathroom door. And I was no less than 10 feet away from them. If you want to equate it to when you go grocery shopping and you look at the bread on the shelf and you pull the bread down, that's how long I looked away from my kids. And my son just screams out, "Mom, someone's dragging Aurora into the bathroom." Sorry.
No, my God. And you were there with who? Your mom or no?
No, I was just me, okay. My son and my daughter, and my son yells, "Mom, someone's dragging Aurora into the bathroom." And so I look up and I see her. The door to the bathroom, for reference, opens inward. So I cannot see the man behind the door. I see my daughter with this look on her face as she's struggling to get away from someone. And I see her being yanked. And so I yell and run over there. And he lets her go. She runs to me. And he instantly is opening the door. He comes out and is right in my face saying, "She's lying. She's lying. She walked in on me. She walked in on me. I was going to the bathroom and she walked in on me." And my son, who is 6, instantly, no fear, goes, "You're a liar. You're lying. That didn't happen. You grabbed her. I saw you go to the bathroom a few minutes ago. You were not in there to go to the bathroom. You grabbed her." And so at this point,
wow,
he freaks out. I am on my phone now calling 911. He runs up to the man who was also in the store, who runs the thrift store, who we have been told now is also a convicted criminal, who is violating his probation by being around other criminals.
Real quick, don't say his name because I'm going to still investigate. We will get to the name of this dude, though. So, okay, you go to the store and that dude, and I'll get to him in a little bit. But
yeah,
so go ahead.
He comes over as I'm on the phone with dispatch, And the dispatcher could hear, can I say the man who grabbed my daughter's name?
Yeah, and I, I'm a journalist, so I have to say everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But
Yeah.
you can say his name because I checked after I talked to you last night. He has been booked in the jail. So yeah, you can say his name all you want. Yeah.
So Andrew started yelling again, "She's calling the cops. We have a problem. She's calling the cops. We have a problem," to this other man. Yeah. So I'm on the phone. The dispatcher can hear this going on in the background. My kids are on me. And she goes, "I want you to walk outside. What vehicle do you drive? I want you to get away from him," because she could hear him yelling. Like, that's not true. She could hear him. And so we walked outside. Very shortly after, a police officer arrived. He asked both of my kids what happened. We were still standing on the front of, like, right outside the store, and the man who runs it kept coming out trying to talk to me, saying, "Well, he's saying he just went to the bathroom." I was just not wanting to have that conversation with him. And the police asked my daughter what had happened, and she told him that she was looking at the toys. She watched him go to the bathroom several minutes previous. He left the bathroom. She said he came back, and she said he was looking at me, and I watched him look both ways, and then he grabbed me and started dragging me into the bathroom. And my son told him the same thing, that this is what happened. And my son made a point of telling the police officer again, "I watched him go to the bathroom already. He was not in there going to the bathroom. My sister was not trying to go to the bathroom. She was standing here looking at toys." Because he at that point, Andrew came out of the store to the front where we were, and again was trying to say, "That's not what happened. I was just trying to go to the bathroom." And at that point, my husband arrived, and the police officer just, encouraged us to take the kids home. So I was standing there, and the man who runs the store had his phone out, and he said, "I have the footage, the security camera footage, but I only have the few minutes before the incident of him going to the bathroom previous. I don't have, the footage of him grabbing her or anything happening." He's like, "I have it on my phone, and I don't know what happened to it. I don't have that." And at that point, my kids were very upset, asking to leave. And so I left and took them home at that point.
Do we know if the police, and I've reached out to police, they haven't gotten back with me yet. Do we know if they've subpoenaed that tape or the surveillance system at all? Or?
I have not heard anything. I didn't know what he was being charged with. Nobody has contacted us at all about any of it.
Really? So the first time you heard of what he was charged with is when I told you last night?
Yes. I was unaware of his charges. I didn't even know that he had a prior until a friend of mine on Facebook messaged me the article from his prior in Saginaw. Nobody told us. We did. My husband did call the arresting officer to verify that it was the same person, and he informed my husband, "Yeah, but I didn't know that until afterward that it was the same person."
First of all, your little guy and your daughter, they are brave, amazing individuals that they were able to stand up and tell the police what happened. And even your little guy to tell you should be extremely proud of those two.
We've told them so many times, they are my heroes, She fought so hard, and it's so hard. I've been in contact with the other mom of the other little girl, and to hear her story and to hear how much they both are struggling, and to know that this happened to both of them, And the one thing I took away from it is, like, he picked the wrong girls because they both fought so hard. Like, he picked the wrong girls to mess with. Unfortunately, because they both were able to get away, it doesn't really seem like the charges are going to be anything.
Let me get into that. So for everyone watching right now, share this out on Facebook, Twitter, share this out because everyone needs to know not only about this case, but how the justice system is working. Let me bring the charges on the screen right here. This is in Sanilac. You're in Sanilac County, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me make it bigger here if we can see. This his name. What is it? Hold on. What is his full name here? Hold on. Okay, Andrew Hakeem Jewell, I believe it is. And this is the court records from Sanilac County, and this is open to everybody. Everybody can look at this, but not a lot of people know. So I'm going to scroll down here and just look. He's 19 years old. The one charge, and that charge, I'm going to highlight it, is assault or assault in battery, and it is a misdemeanor. That shocked the heck out of me.
When you told me that last night, I just like fell down and just started crying because I felt like, this is the second time, right? So they've got to do something this time, and to see that
charges, they can make charges more, they can add more. So by you speaking out and you being as brave as you are, and your daughter and your son, this might help to make, to more charges to be filed. So he is in, I checked, it looks like he's still in custody. He has a $10,000 bond, but it's cash or surety. And what I believe that means is that all he has to come up with is $1,000 to get out. And let me look right here. So it shows you everything that's happening. He was apparently arraigned, and once again, innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But this is the information. It said here when he was in court, he stood mute. He did not say anything. So by doing that, you automatically plead not guilty if you don't talk. Okay, so this is what happened on Friday, and you found out that this is horrible enough, but you found out that this wasn't the first time, right?
Yes. I didn't find that out until Saturday. Like I said, a friend that had seen what I posted reached out with an article from his incident in Saginaw, where he attacked a little girl in a bathroom of a movie theater, where he put his arm around her neck and his hand over her mouth to muffle her screaming. And she was able to fight him off and get away. And
you know what I'm going to do? I want to, if it's okay with you, courtesy of Channel 12, Terry Camp, one of their reporters, he's a really good guy. Can I play the story from a year ago?
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
For people to watch, I want everyone to understand how serious this was back then too. So I'm going to play this and let me know if you can hear this. Let me see if it works here. Might have to watch a commercial. You always do. Okay.
Start your wellness journey with a spa-like experience today at the Memorial Healthcare Wellness Center. Visit memorialhealthcare.org or call the number on your screen.
Okay, hold on.
ABC 12's Health Source sponsored.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you able to hear me still?
Yes.
Okay, and you could hear that audio when I was playing that?
I could, yeah.
Okay, I've never done this before, so I just want to make sure I'm right.
Healthcare in Owasso.
Okay, let me bring this up right now then.
An incident in a women's bathroom in a mid-Michigan movie theater has led to criminal charges against a male teenager, but the mom of the alleged victim is concerned he's not facing more serious charges. Investigators say the 18-year-old man went into the women's bathroom and grabbed a 10-year-old girl.
The girl was not hurt. Terry, what is he charged with?
Well, he's facing an assault and battery charge, which is a misdemeanor. Investigators say the suspect does have mental health challenges, but the mother of the young girl is now worried about the child's mental health.
And I'm scared for whichever child this could happen to next.
Sylvia Shettle's children were at the Imagine Theater in Kochville Township on the night of February 18th. The 10-year-old girl and 9-year-old boy were with their grandmother, and before the show, the children needed a restroom break. Their grandmother stayed in the lobby. Investigators say a male teenager followed the young girl into the women's bathroom. After washing her hands, the young girl noticed the man standing next to her.
He then went right behind her and grabbed her around the throat and used his other hand. He pulled the sleeve over his hand to muffle her screaming.
She says her daughter was able to fight off the teen who ran out of the bathroom. The little girl told her grandma what happened, and security and police were called. Security cameras showed the teenager went back into a theater. Shettle took these photos of the teen being questioned. He was released to his father, who was also at the theater. 18-year-old Andrew Jewell has now been charged with assault and battery, a misdemeanor. Shettle believes there should have been more serious charges.
I think that our justice system is too lenient when it comes to our children, and I think our children need to be protected first.
Saginaw County Chief Assistant Prosecutor Blair Stevenson says he understands why Shettle would be upset, but the assault charge is the one he believes can be proven, and charges could be enhanced if more information becomes available. He says Jewell has mental health challenges. Shettle is worried about her daughter.
Scared her, and she's scared now. This could go on for how long?
Now, Jewell was released on bond and is to get mental health treatment and is not allowed to go back to that theater. Now, Imagine Theaters released a statement saying in part the safety and security of the guests and team members remains their highest priority. Angie?
Okay, well, there you go. What she just said, and were you able to hear and see that?
Yeah.
Her fear came true last Friday. It allegedly happened again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. And when I first was sent that article, that was the part that just broke me. Her statement of, I'm worried for who this could happen to next. And it had to be my child.
And were you able to talk to her, the mom? Have you two talked?
Yes, we have communicated, and I think her and I are both on the same page when it comes to the fact that we will not stop until this is handled and until people understand how serious this is. Because just because he was unsuccessful in whatever it was that he was going to do to both of our daughters, that's on. We aren't ignorant people. We know that nothing but damage was going to come from that. There was no good. And to just let him continue, he was on probation when this happened. He was supposed to be on probation for 2 years, and he's on probation. I don't understand how someone like that is allowed to work somewhere where children come in, where they have toys for children.
Exactly. And I want to bring up, you just brought up the point I wanted to touch, his criminal record. And by the way, they never did enhance the charges. He was only charged with that charge. I'm going to bring up his Saginaw County record. And this is one reason why I left my job in TV news. I can spend time with you and dig into this. In local news, they only spend 1 minute and 30. I think everyone deserves to know everything.
I agree.
Yeah, so let me bring this up here. It's his Saginaw County record. And all of this is public. And once again, innocent till proven guilty in Sanilac County, not in Sanilac County. In Saginaw County, he is a criminal. He did what he's accused of. Okay, here we go. Andrew Hakeem Jewell, arrested on, I think, March 28th. Oh, no, that was a hearing. Let me look at his charges right here. There was a warrant for his arrest. He had an address change. Apparently he kept moving a lot. He had an address change. He lived in another home, all this information right here. And back then he had $1,000 bond, personal recognizance. So he was let out on a bond. No contact with the victim. He was never, no sex offender charges. He's not on the sex offender registry of any kind. But the thing is, he was out on bond. And, okay, here it is. Yeah, 2 years probation, 180 days of GPS. So, yes, he was on probation.
GPS, I'm sorry to interrupt, the GPS, I was informed, ended less than a month ago.
Yes, I believe it was it not, hold on, 93 days, maybe it said here. So as soon as he had the chance, he
Yeah.
allegedly went and did this again. Okay, so he was charged in Saginaw County with assault or the same exact charge, misdemeanor.
Yeah.
And now I'm not a legal expert. I am not a lawyer. He's innocent until proven guilty in Sanilac County, but I've covered law and crime enough. It seems to me that this would be either attempted kidnapping or actual kidnapping.
Yeah. He did get her into the bathroom. He
So
took her
he
where
had
he wanted to take her.
So she was being held against her will, basically.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And if I was working in the news, I couldn't say this, but I would ask the prosecutor, why is he not charged with kidnapping?
Yeah. Yeah. She was
If it
being
was,
held
you know,
against her will. 100%.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people watching this are probably going to call that prosecutor in the morning. And you said you probably have lots of questions like that too, right?
I do. I have so many. My husband and I are currently looking for an attorney. We have questions that we don't know how to get the answers to. You know, we need somebody to help guide us, and you know, we need the support of our community. You know, because I mean, my daughter is a big member of our community, as is the rest of my family, and everyone knows her. And you know, I don't think anybody would say that she's anything but a light to their life. And to have her not be able to walk around her own home without me by her side is not my kid. She is so independent and so strong, and it's just heartbreaking to see her like this.
So this has traumatized her.
Yes, 100%. She's barely eating. She's having a hard time sleeping.
This is
like
something. This is something that changes someone's life. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully not, but this can impact her for the rest of her life.
Yeah. My husband and I are trying to instill in her and my son that, you know, they did the right thing and they fought hard, and, you know, but it's just, it's not something that's just going to go away, I don't think, for her probably ever, or him.
You know, and you can tell her and your son, I am going to talk to my 6 and 10-year-old and tell them to watch this and say, these kids, they did exactly what you're supposed to do. So by you being brave enough to talk about this, I think you are going to maybe save lives, because a lot of parents maybe don't think, and you brought this up, you grew up in a big city. Here in mid-Michigan, there's lots of small cities, and some parents think, oh, it won't happen here, it won't happen here, but it does. So by you speaking out, I think you are going to save lives just by talking about it.
I told my husband when it first happened, and he said, what do we do? And I said, whatever we can. And he agreed, because the thought of letting this happen to somebody else, I could never live with myself. And I know that the mom of the other girl did everything she could. And I know that she's still willing to do whatever she can. And it's unfortunate that I had to meet her this way, but I'm very grateful to have met her.
Now, the Channel 12 report had said, and that was courtesy of WJRT, they said he was suffering from mental health issues. Whether it be the case, it appears as if that he allegedly did this. And I have to say allegedly because he has not been convicted. So I apologize if I have to say that.
I understand.
But he obviously has problems, and those problems were not being dealt with.
No, and they're not going to go away. We know this. It's human history. We've seen this time and time again. These problems don't disappear. They don't go away. And when someone has mental health issues, they don't understand. And telling him, don't do that again, that's not enough. It's not enough. And if he needs to get help, then that's what we should be doing, but not roaming the streets ready to hurt someone else's child.
The big thing I just thought of, I'm friends with, and I know Sheriff Chris Swanson in Genesee County, when he would put these kind of stories on TV, other people would come out and say, oh my God, that guy did that to me. Or if there's a child out there who maybe doesn't want to speak up, this guy may have done something like that to others, and we don't know.
And it is something we've thought about. I think one of the biggest things that stuck out to me was the boldness of the attack. I mean, I was right there. And I don't know what he thought he was going to do or get away with, but that's one of the things that scares me the most, is the boldness of it, because it tells me that he's someone who's not afraid to do what he wants, to get what he wants, whether that's because he's not in the right frame of mind or what. But it's definitely a thought that I've had, is how many people I see let their kids walk around Sandusky without parental supervision. I see it every day. And how do we know that another little girl hasn't already been affected by this and not been able to say anything or tell anybody? And it's terrifying.
Hopefully they can now. Hopefully now, if they can. But you're right. I'm 48 years old. When I was a little guy, in Metro Detroit, my mom, they let me ride my bike for miles all over town. And my daughter is not happy now because we don't let her. We're living in and I know bad stuff happened back then, and maybe my parents should have been more aware, but we're living in a different world.
We are. And, like you said, I did not grow up in a small town. I grew up, in a much more populated area where you locked your doors at night and you watched your surroundings. I've always been hyper vigilant. So for a parent, and another thing I want to talk about is I have had these conversations with my children before. What do you do when someone does this, or if someone tries to talk to you, or if someone puts hands on you, or we've had these conversations, and these are conversations I had, where I felt like, what, maybe you're being a little, dramatic. Maybe we need to not worry them with this, but they're conversations that I had, and it still happened. And, my kids luckily were smart enough and strong enough to do what they needed to do. But how many people think that they don't need to have those conversations with their kids, and they're hard conversations, or people who think that, oh, well, I've mentioned it once, it's fine. No, it's not. It's not. I was not watching them for the amount of time it would take you to grab something off the shelf at the grocery store or to look at a rack of clothing. I was right there. This was not, there was nothing I could have done differently to stop this. I think he had it in his mind when he saw her that this is what he was going to do, regardless of her mother being close by.
By the way, people in the chat, people in the chat on Locals want a picture of him. I just looked on the Sandusky, on the sheriff's department, their jail. They don't have pictures. Some other states like Florida's amazing. They have everything, mugshots, everything.
Yeah.
This guy's picture is not available, but I am going to call and email. I've already called the police and the sheriff, but I'm going to try to get his mugshot tomorrow and blast it out everywhere. So just to let everyone know, I'm going to try to put his picture. The Channel 12 story did have I think they had a side shot of him or something.
I did have someone message me a picture of him from this week, but I didn't feel comfortable releasing that, because I felt that I didn't have 100% proof it was him, because they weren't sure.
Okay. Now, I don't know your husband, but if that was if that was me, I would be tempted to beat the living blank out of the individual.
Well, to be honest, I didn't have enough time to tell my husband when I called him what had happened, because I was dealing with the person who runs the store in my ear trying to talk to me, and the police coming. I called him, I told him where we were, and told him I needed him to come there immediately. So he did show up after my children had told the officer what had happened. When he got there, he asked what was going on, and they told him, and he asked the police officer, he said, "Is he in there?" And he said, "Yes." And my husband took off to go into the building where they were holding him. And the police officer did, tell him, like, "Hey, like, please just, I need you to, you can't, and I have heard from that police officer. He did tell me when he called that he hoped we weren't upset that he stopped him from doing that, because he felt like the last thing we needed was for my husband to be arrested as well. I think it also, as much as I would have loved nothing more than to make sure that he never hurt anybody ever again, that does nothing for my children. And, I understand it. I really do. But you don't know what you're going to do in that moment. And you don't know how you're going to feel.
You don't want to lose your husband. That's the thing. If something like that happened, then he'd be in jail. But yeah, your kids are amazing.
They are amazing.
And
all that would do is take away from them and their story. And we wouldn't be able to control the narrative at that point, because, news in this country changes and is not correct half the time and goes with whatever the person reporting it wants to say. And, unfortunately, I don't know his heritage, but he is not white. And, it's something that is really hard. And I as much as I wanted in that moment to lay hands on him, I didn't.
Yeah.
I just knew how the narrative could be flipped and take away from what had happened to my children.
Well, yeah, you've been very brave, and your children have as well. And this could have ended, obviously, in tragedy. But I'm hoping, and I'm glad you talked to me, because we're hoping to do several things. If there are more charges in this case, let me know, and I will let you know if I find that out.
Yeah, I might have to find out from you, apparently.
You have a lot of people. There's 60 people watching on my locals platform. Many of them are calling the prosecutor tomorrow, they say.
Good. Thank you.
Or emailing. And so you got a lot of backers, and I'm going to put this on Facebook and everywhere. And, once again, he has been charged with these crimes. He has not been convicted. But I do know they can add more charges. That has happened in the past. So, I mean, obviously, that is something you would support, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Last question. What message do you, and you've already said this, but for parents, I worked in TV news, I know people who work in law enforcement, and they are very particular, and they tell their kids about things, but especially in smaller towns, people maybe don't talk about it as much. What is your suggestion or your message to parents and kids everywhere in this country? What would you say?
I would say that, unfortunately, it can happen to you, and it can happen to your kids. And the best thing you can do is be open and honest with them and tell them about the dangers of the world that we live in. As scary as that is, I feel like, ignorance is not bliss. And, we need to talk about it. We need to have, support for people so that they can come together and say, like, one of the things that really got to me was all of the people that commented on the post saying, I went to that thrift store and I felt not safe. I felt a bad vibe. Why didn't I know that? Why didn't anybody share that? If you get this feeling, don't be afraid to put it out there for people, because you know what? Maybe I would have seen that. Maybe I would have seen it, and you have to, as a mom, you have to trust your gut and give your children the tools that they need to protect themselves, because you might not be there. And even if you are there, they might have to protect themselves. And you just have to trust that you have shown them what they need and that they're going to be able to do it if they ever need to.
And they did. And I'm just going to read some of the comments to you. This mom is a hero. So are the children. We got your back. This stuff needs to come out. Yeah, brave children. So you're opening eyes. And like I said, I have a big following on social. I'm going to blast this out there. I'm going to let you go now. But what I'm going to do is during the week, I'm going to contact law enforcement. And there's another issue we're going to get into maybe next week. I'm going to have you back on about where this individual was living in town
Yes.
and how he ended up in your community. That's a whole other issue.
It's a huge issue.
Yeah, and I don't have all the facts yet, so I'm going to do a lot of research during the week, and I'm going to have you back. And hopefully the next time we talk, maybe more charges have been added to this individual.
That would be the best outcome.
That would be good, because
Yeah.
just let your little girl and your guy know that they are amazing and you have all the good people supporting them.
Yeah, I will, for sure.
Okay. I'm going to let you go. I will post it later on Facebook and YouTube. If you need anything, I'll send you my cell phone. Just text or call anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your dedication to this issue.
Okay.
So,
Prayers to you and everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, that is just wow. I just am. I don't know what to say about that. And I do have to say he is innocent until proven guilty, which is true, because we are in the United States of America. Once again, everyone, if you are watching right now and you are not a paid supporter, I urge you to become a paid supporter. Become a paid supporter to help fund my independent journalism. I quit my job in the mainstream media in order to do things like this, because in the media, I couldn't tell a whole story. I couldn't interview someone for an hour. I can do it here on Locals. I couldn't post this, everywhere, because, So I appreciate all of you for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to put a link on the screen real quick, davebondy.locals.com/support. If you would like to sign up and support me in my independent journalism, click the link that you have there on the screen. If you are not a paid supporter, if you are a paid supporter, can you share that link with everybody? Okay, everyone, I'm going to keep you updated on this case. I'm going to keep you updated on this case because there's a possibility more charges could be filed. I have reached out to law enforcement. I have not heard anything back from them yet, but hopefully I will. But I do want to thank the mom for going on camera and, opening up during this interview. It's my heart breaks for her. Her child may never be the same after this happened, but I want her girl and her little boy to know that they are heroes and they are hopefully putting an end to this kind of stuff. So I'm going to let you go, everyone. I really appreciate all of you for watching and your support for me and your support for that mom. Take what she said to heart. Take what she said to heart. If you have kids, have a conversation with your kids tonight and tell them this story. Tell them what happened and tell them that if your little guy or your little gal is in a store, why they can't wander off, because something like this could happen. If it happened in Sandusky, Michigan, it could happen anywhere. I'm going to let you go, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will see you soon.